It's time for Football Con Manos 2025.
What is up, Football Code Monos League managers? I am here for a mock draft video so you guys can all get some practice before actual draft day on the 31st. If you look at our home screen, you can see the counter on there. It is at 13 days, 23 hours, 1 minute, and 13 seconds. So let's get right into it. If you're at your home screen of your ESPN app, go ahead and scroll to the bottom of that screen, or at least halfway down. You're going to see an area that says try a mock draft. Go ahead and select that button right there. Once you push that button, you're going to see two options. One is going to be for Football Con Manos practice draft. I would recommend not using that one. If you do use that one, it's going to be against the computer, against an auto draft, so it's not going to give you an accurate depiction of when players will be taken in each round. Go ahead and select the join a public mock draft. I do recommend that one a lot more. Whenever you do that, you're going to come to a screen for the draft lobby. You're going to see a lot of different options here. Make sure that you choose one of the options that has 10 spots, not 12 or 14. We do have a 10-man draft, so I'm going to go ahead and hit one of those selections. Whenever you hit one of those selections, more than likely it's going to show that it is already full. So go ahead and hit join next similar draft, and then it will put you in a lobby that is not going to be full. Once you hit that, you're going to see the counter at the top of the draft room. That's when the draft actually starts. If you look down on my screen, it has put me in the 8th spot, so I'll be drafting number 8 in this draft. Instead of sitting here on the waiting room until that draft starts, I can go ahead and look at a few different things before we get into it. So if you go to the top left of your screen, press that arrow button back and then close the draft lobby. Once you do that, it brings you back to your home screen. Go ahead and scroll to the top. You'll see that the counter for our normal draft is at the top, but if you use that and slide it to the side, you're going to see the draft that you just signed up for. I still have 4 minutes until that draft starts, so I can go ahead and look at a few different things on my home screen. So this is going to be a lot like on draft day. You'll also have the counter at the top, and you'll see that area that says enter waiting room. We are going to hit that when it's time, but until then, we can look at a few different things such as the football rankings. So number 1 overall ranked is going to be Jamar Chase, followed by number 2 Bijan Robinson. If I'm not sure about what's going on with any of these players, I can actually press on their name. Once I press on their name, it opens up a new screen that brings up the overview, such as his season stats, what he's projected for, and what he got last year. If I go down, it talks about his outlook, and then recent news. This is going to be the most important part of any of the players that you're looking at, is the recent news. It talks about different things such as, is there any injuries for that player? Is there any injuries in the team that's going to affect his ball handling? What's going on in regard to his team and himself, and what might change for the upcoming week. So if you keep going down, you're going to see a game log, latest transactions, things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and close that out, and then if I want to go back up to the top, I still have 2 minutes and 30 seconds left, so we're just going to go ahead and fast forward through that for a moment. All right, so we're down within 30 seconds. So what we're going to do next is we're going to hit the enter waiting room. Once we hit that enter waiting room, it's going to put us back in there, and it's going to show the draft order. I want you to keep in mind that throughout all of these mock drafts, they are going to be for 30-second rounds. Our draft is going to be 1 minute and 30 seconds, so you do have 3 times the amount of time. So once that clock runs out to 0, it's going to say that the draft is about to begin, and it's going to open up a link that says enter draft. Go ahead and hit that enter draft button. You usually have about a minute before the actual draft starts. So we have about a minute until the draft starts. You're going to notice at the bottom of the screen, you're going to see a players tab. This is going to be your main tab that you want to do all of your drafting from, or possibly the queues, but typically you're going to be on this tab to see what's going on. Let's go ahead and scroll down. If you notice that green line, that's where I'm going to be picking at. So if everybody above me picks the players right there, I should be looking at Nakua or Amon-Ra St. Brown, Malik Neighbors, possibly Ashton Genty. All of these are great picks. But typically that green line is going to show you about what players might be in the running for whenever you come back around. So I mean, you can even scroll up even further. So my 3rd round draft pick looks like I'm probably going to be around, if I wanted to take a quarterback, probably not, a little bit early for a quarterback. But I can kind of just scroll down and see what my picks look like, and I can start planning through there. Like if I wanted to put somebody in the queue screen, I could do that, but I'm not going to do it that way. So once the draft starts, you'll notice that the first person is taken off the board. Jamar Chase with the 2nd pick, Bijan Robinson, and it's just going to start going down from there. You're going to see up at the top how it says auto next to their names. That means that somebody has already, the computer is already auto drafting for them, and whenever auto draft happens, it usually takes the next best ranked player. Not always good, depending on what position you are trying to fill. And so just keep in mind that if you get disconnected or your phone dies during our actual draft, I cannot pause it, and it does throw it into auto draft. So before our draft starts, make sure that you're in a good reception area and that your phone is charged. So it's getting ready to come down to my turn. If I want to see who's already been taken off the board, I can go down to the bottom of my screen and look and see who's been taken off the board already in the first couple picks. If I don't like that view, I can also hit roster view, so I can break it down by position only. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to players because it's almost my turn right now. It looks like if I scroll back up to the top, this guy's probably going to take CD Lamb, which leaves Nakua, Neighbors, and St. Brown for me, possibly Genty. So I'm going to choose out of these guys. Genty is a rookie, so we're not really sure what he's going to do. So we're just going to take a sure bet with CD Lamb. And so what that does is if you want to go over to your rosters and you want to look inside of your rosters, you can hit that bottom tab and see which positions you have filled already. So you can kind of toggle back and forth to see what you're doing and what the rest of the league is doing as you go. So with the snake draft, you'll notice that after it got to pick 10, the 10th round, or it went into the 2nd round, the 10th team picked already. All right, it looks like it's my turn again, since I'm pick 8 right there. So we're gonna go ahead and pick Nico Collins. All right, we're gonna hit back to this round view. So you'll notice that as it works its way back down, once it hits back to round 3, it's going to work its way back up. So it looks similar to a snake, and that's why they call it a snake draft. And so one of the great things about having a large time in between my draft or my pick and the next person would be I can start actually looking. Highly unlikely I'm going to get any of these top players right here, so I'm going to scroll down to kind of where I'm at on next in line. It's possible I can get Lad McConkey or Adams, because I think somebody will probably pick Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson in the third. And so if I really wanted to, I can start looking into some of their stuff that's going on. If I keep scrolling down, I have Kyron Williams if I want to see what's going on with him. Just as we go, it's an easy way to know what's going on with everybody. So go ahead and utilize that tool. And depending on the strategy that you have, I've already selected 2 wide receivers, so I really need some running backs right now. A lot of people in the third round, they might take a top tier quarterback or a top tier tight end. It just depends on your own draft strategy. So just pay attention to who's coming off the board and see if you might be able to get a good deal for him or not. It looks like possibly I would be able to come out if I wanted to waste one of my third round picks on a quarterback. I could do that. I don't think that's a very good idea right now. I'm going to go ahead and go with one of these running backs because I do need a running back. I'm going to go with James Cook. And one of these 4 quarterbacks, as long as not everybody picks them, should still be on the board. These are all 4 elite quarterbacks. So it looks like Jalen Hurts, I could definitely get him. Lamar Jackson and Daniels will probably go right now. If one of those guys are open, I'll probably select one of them. If I did not want to take a quarterback on this one and I wanted to make sure I had another good running back pick, I would definitely go right now because I won't have another chance until it gets down to Breece Hall or DeAndre Swift. So maybe I should take a running back right now, which I think I will, just so that I have those 2 covered. If I look at my roster spots, it'll show that I have 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers. So now I can start thinking about other positions if I want to try to select before somebody. I just didn't want to get stuck with a terrible running back because all these next tier running backs are going to be taken because I have such a long time in between my picks. Looks like there's a huge wide receiver class, so I don't have to worry too much about picking up wide receivers. So I might. So somebody just took Joe Burrow off the board is who I would have went for next. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to go ahead and finish out this draft. I'll speed it up. That way you don't have to pay attention to the whole thing. So guys, as we're getting closer to the end of our draft, it looks like we have 3 picks left. So this is when people might start choosing defenses and things like that. So one of the tools that you can use is going to all positions. And if you want to narrow it down just by position and that's it, you can go ahead and click that. Once you finish doing that, you may need to go back to all positions. It looks like we need a kicker and one more bench guy. So I'm going to go ahead and look at what I have on the board right now. And at this point, we're just going to choose maybe the best option out of all of these guys. Or possibly maybe a rookie that we think that might come out and do something big during the season. Which leads us to our last round. If we look over here on our roster views, I'm going to go by just the team alone. You'll notice that everybody leaves their kicker until last, except for the most part. Everybody leaves their kicker till last. And last but not least, we will make our last pick, which I'm just going to go with that. So now that our roster is full, I can go over here and I can look at each one of my rosters, including my bench down here. I can look at the board and see how people came off of the board and compare teams. And one of the other tools that I like to use is also to look at just the draft order that came off the board. So we're going to go ahead and X that out. Look at the draft order. So the very first pick, go to round view, was Jamar Chase, followed by Bijan Robinson, which is probably going to happen. However, in a few of my drafts, Bijan has already went 4th and 5th. So it just depends on who you're drafting against. But first round looks pretty normal. I wouldn't expect Puka Nacua to go before CeeDee Lamb, but in this draft it did. And so just use this as a tool to see what other people are doing or how valuable people think that they are. Once you get finished with that, you can go ahead and go to exit draft, and it'll put you right back at the home screen. Once you get back to the home screen, you can do it all over again, or if you wanted to maybe try to do it with just the league, you can go ahead and hit that practice draft right there, and you can start practice. Once again, that one is only going to be against the computer, so it's probably not going to be as good as if you were going against other people, so keep that in mind. One more thing you guys might want to check out is if you go onto ESPN.com, go onto their home screen there, press these 3 lines up at the top to drop down this menu. If you look all the way to the left, you'll see fantasy right there. And then if you hit fantasy and then go to football, right above your team name, it's going to take you to the fantasy football home screen. Once you get into that, go ahead and scroll down a little bit. You're going to come across a cheat sheet central. Cheat sheet Cheat Sheet Central is one of the best tools that you can use. Maybe print some of these out and stuff like that. But these are different cheat sheets that you can use in order to make a roster or decide who you might want to pick up through the draft. I'm going to go ahead and press on one of them for now. This is the Ultimate Cheat Sheet. So whenever you go into the Ultimate Cheat Sheet, it's going to go over a whole bunch of different people based on the experts on what they think are going to the projections about what each player is going to be doing. So we're going to go ahead and go back on here. One of the other ones that I like to do look at is going to be the NFL team depth chart cheat sheet. So this is an excellent one because it's going to show each team and what each team. So let's just take the Buffalo Bills, for example. Josh Allen is obviously the QB1. James Cook is going to be the RB1. Ray Davis is going to be his backup. So he's probably not going to get as many carries or anything like that. Ty Johnson is definitely the RB3, so he's not looking at a whole lot of fantasy numbers unless there's an injury or something like that. Khalil Shakir is their number one wide receiver, followed by Coleman and then Palmer. Tight end 1 and 2, those are kind of interchangeable, but you can go into each and every single team's rosters and see where they're at. Are they the RB1? Are they the WR1? So go ahead and take a look at that stuff.